Yeah.
No,
There's
okay,
some
let's just
super
gonna
chats I
move
want to
on.
jump to here. This here says that they
Ridiculous.
couldn't not pay Isak's wages indefinitely. Again, it depends. I suppose it depends on the clauses. If he's refusing to train and refusing to work, I think they can. HR law in the UK would enable that. If KJ just says every day, even with strike action, you sometimes get paid for a certain period. But if KJ just said, I'm not turning up for work for the last month, it's a little different because he's not contracted in the same way. But if he says, look, I'm giving a month's notice, but I'm not turning up to work my last month's notice, and he's got no holiday time left or no reason that he has to go, I'm not obligated to pay him. Maybe the contract says different, but these contracts are very much in the club's favor. They pull.
And by the way, just
money
quickly,
away
just a
like
quick
leave.
point, Harry. Mo brought up release clauses. I'd like to introduce you to a certain player called Morgan Gibbs White, in case you're unaware, of which Spurs triggered his release clause and still didn't get the player because of the club who we should all worship
Yeah.
and listen to, according to you, basically stabbing Gibbs White in the back.
Ash here says Suarez bit to players to orchestrate his exits. Yeah, there's a lot of I remember that going on. Also, if this here from Papa says also if Isak moved to our own, sorry, if this Isak move is to our own each club, we would back it because this is not we shunt it. Why is this topic dragging on so long? It's so simple. But I hear you. My view is just very much that I agree with your point, which is why I don't call it out though. So I understood the claims that people made 10, 15 years ago. They didn't want oligarchs. They didn't want nations because as Hussam and Mo have clarified, although you may get like an investment institute from a Middle Eastern country, in reality, it's owned by the royal family of those countries. I understood why people didn't want that type of ownership. Some of it was bigoted. Other people looked at it as it's kind of uncompetitive because they're richer than they're richer than the billionaires because they've got hundreds of billions. I get the reasoning for it. The reason why I never called it out was nothing to do with politics or these people, that people. It was all to do with, would I stop supporting Man United if I had an owner from that part of the world? No. Therefore, I'm not going to sit on camera and sit out there tweeting that it's wrong. And then when my club gets it, have an oil party. I was never going to do that. So my view is this. You are right, Papa. But I'm pushing for people to be less hypocritical and understand.
Let's put you Judge Mo here.
And you're very hypocritical. You are.
No. I'm going to tell you why. But before you do this next super chat, because in the Adamalo Lukman situation, I blamed Inter for not paying the money that Adamalo Lukman was promised by Atalanta to leave, because Inter were haggling for 5-6 million. And I said, Atalanta are not in the wrong here. Adamalo Lukman should not go on strike and should not do these things. If Inter want the player, pay the money that Atalanta promised Adamalo Lukman to leave. And it's very simple. See, I don't change because of my club. I don't. Go ahead, read the super chat, please.
I hear that. Look at it from Joe Hart's point of view. Gave everything to City, and in the blink of an eye, he was demoted out the club. Clubs do it all the time, especially to youth players. But when it's now, it's an issue. Joshua Jack, absolutely spot on, mate. Mo, less waffle, please, is what's been said here.
Big up future next.
Do it like North American sports, buy out the player.
I don't want it to be like North American sports. I don't want it to be like
it doesn't need to be done that way. He had 3. I actually love it how it is. I love the drama that comes with the transfers. Let's keep it.
It's amazing.
Let's keep it that way. Chelsea did dirty to Disasi. If yes, so is Isak Hussam.
By the way, Ronan and Cypher Blue, let me show you how, you see, we're calling out hypocrisy. You both are like, oh my God, Isak is such a bad guy. Disasi's contract expires in 2028. He has 3 years left on his contract too.
I agree with Mo. You can increase the release clause. Yeah, listen, I'm not against these things coming into play, but I guarantee you the clubs will be the ones that reject this more than the players. Guarantee you it's the clubs that don't. The clubs don't want everything being contracted. The clubs are the ones that won't want release clauses and everything. The clubs. It's a bit like when people say, Terry, PSR holds clubs back. No, I think it's a massive safety belt the football clubs need. No. It holds teams back, Terry. You're wrong. What if? I know you're saying that we might run up debts of 3, 4, 5 billion that we can't afford without support. But what if our owners put all that money into an account so that we were covered? Yeah. Question for you. Why hasn't that never been suggested by a single billionaire owner of a football club? Because they don't want to give away that cash. They don't want to put that money into a pot they have no control over. Because what they actually want, they love what they're doing, but they want to be able to walk away whenever they want to be able to walk away. They don't want to walk away with £5 billion sitting in the Premier League's bank account that they have to top up every year. And I say 5 billion because I'm using an extreme example, but do you know how rich the Newcastle owners are? That if they were allowed to spend whatever they want, they could literally go and get Mbappe and go, there's £5 million a week in salary, and they could afford that. It's a drop in the ocean.
They are doing it in Saudi League. Like, you see Benzema wages. Like,
exactly. And imagine those debts on clubs that only turn over three. But again, people always come up with these suggestions. But if club owners really wanted those rules, they could get them in place and they could vote them in. But they don't even suggest them. And they've got a room full of exceedingly smart billionaires and lawyers. They don't suggest it. It's because they don't want to do that. The UK law forbids it. All they can do is sack him. Yeah, listen, there's loads of things as well around that as well. So it's like competition clauses. It's like payment caps and payment things. It's actually against a lot of British employment law and EU law as well to like cap what someone can and can't earn. So you just can't. Again, it's different from America because our employment laws in the UK compared to America, like in England, if you're like employed PAYE, you basically got to rob off the company or try and kill your boss to get sacked. Where in America, you can be late once in a week and they can sack you if you've been there 20 years. Like they have almost no employment law in America compared to the UK. So that's why you can't just copy the American model, because our laws and how we protect our workers, irrespective if they earn £1 an hour, no, that's illegal, £10 an hour or £10 million an hour, the laws and the rules that protect them are the same. So we can't just implement American laws into our game because our country forbids it. Comparing actual labor strikes of the past with multimillionaires trying to get better teams isn't really the same thing. Very good challenge. Very good challenge. My view on it is this, though. There are people that strike in the UK that have, again, they're not multimillionaires. I've got a friend who works in the train industry who earns over £150,000 a year. He votes for the strike action if he doesn't get the right level of pay rise every year. And he is not wealthy, but a very well-off person. The issue that you have, it's the slippery slope element for me. You start going, right, well, millionaires can't strike. How far down? What is the cap you're going to put on someone's yearly earnings when they can strike? And you see how that can then continue to get eroded. And for me, strike action is something I'm proud of as a working class Englishman, a working class Brit. It's something that I don't think it matters what you earn. It's the principle that you can do it. Because I would worry, I worry in this country, if we start taking that right away from certain people. I know what governments are like. They then start taking it away from more and more and more and more people. Slippery slope. We shouldn't do it. And we don't have the same protections you have in America to protect yourself from nasty governments. That's the only way I'm going to phrase that. What Salah did was great. Too long, these accounts of rage-baited fans for interactions. That's why Mo was supporting it, because Mo's a rage baiter. That's all they care about. It's garbage content. Yeah, Mo Gender.
Not content, it's not rage bait. It's a fact. He's an upgrade. He that pays the piper dictates the tune. The clubs have control over the players who are assets. So you're dehumanizing basically the player, and you're just calling him an asset. But the moment that the asset comes into human form and says, I want to leave, you have a problem with it. You have a bigger problem than like your logic is way worse than actually anything we've said on the panel.
Depends on the state you live in. Here in Florida, they call it right to work laws, but workers have very little rights.
We have zero rights here in Texas. Zero.
Yes, it's crazy.
You can literally scan your badge and it doesn't go without even anyone telling you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you can't do that in England. Too bad. Salah is a nice guy. Feed the kids in Egypt. Trying to get better teams.
Yeah, guess what? Isak was trying to go to a better team.
Absolutely. Big up to the panel. New United need to realize Newcastle United need to realize the treatment of Isak is ridiculous. Now, why would any football talent go to them after the way they have treated him? They should learn how to treat Sporting. Look how Sporting treated Gyökeres. Look, I don't think it will stop players going to Newcastle. I think that's a slight exaggeration. However, it may make them players demand easier ways of getting out of the football club. I also think some of the teammates might look at the fucking hate campaign on this player since he left. Look at the media campaign. Look at the lies. Look at the things they're saying about this man that we really respect. Sven Botman being called out by big Newcastle fans online yesterday for wishing his friend good luck in the future.
Yeah,
that may put some people off.
Too much, to be honest. Like
that may.
Bro, Luke Edwards basically accused him of like essentially.
Yeah, in this thing, Luke Edwards really, someone need to really sue the guy. You cannot actually go on a player's person.
Yeah, like he said he wanted Newcastle to not qualify.
You're literally asking for
team. That's crazy, bro.
For Isak to go to jail, which is kind of weird behavior, to be honest.
PG says, Terry, why did Liverpool block Joe Gomez's move? No idea. Probably because they didn't get Gay here. I don't know.
Yeah, because they didn't have enough numbers.
I'm talking about withholding wages indefinitely. Well, if a player refuses to play and train, I guarantee they've got the right to withhold his wages because what's he getting paid for?
At a certain level, of course.
What they won't be able to probably withhold is image rights if they're still using his image on things. So if Newcastle was still having his picture on websites, his picture on pamphlets, his pictures on posters, they'd probably have to pay his image rights still. But if he isn't kicking a ball and training, I guarantee they're allowed to withhold paying the vast majority of all of his salary because he isn't upholding. It will say in his salary, I've read in his contract that he has to play football matches. He's being paid to play football matches. This here says the literal backbone of pro sport is contracts. This is what this will only get worse. Clubs obligated to pay them, they still get paid. It won't get worse. This is why I'm pushing back.
But here's the problem: you're all putting this on Isak's shoulders, talking about it's gonna get worse, bro. This happened like 20 years ago with Tevez, with Berbatov, with so many different players. This has been happening historically, bro.
Exactly.
This ain't new.
That's why I don't think it's
set a precedent.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm pushing back against. Liverpool didn't become the negotiator. We are by pay what they want. Terry wishes for the same. Gahey fouled because of Glasner deal and the wages. By the way, I think that Oliver Glasner has done nothing wrong as well. He's looking out for his best interests. And do you know what? There's going to be an irony in this. If there's a rumor going around that if Amorim gets sacked, Glasner might come to Man United. Can you imagine if he then joins Man United?
Oh, would he care about Gahey then? No.
But that's it. That's the nature of the beast, you know? I think Parish has got overruled once the manager said he would leave if Gahey was sold as they didn't have a replacement. Remember, he's the minority owner. There's that. I mean, you might find Oliver Glasner may have negotiated in a veto so he can stop things. Some managers have that. There's also that element. They have to weigh it up. Do we take the money? Do we play with no player? What if Glasner does leave? What if the player goes and then the manager quits? Palace fans will do their nut after their greatest ever season and they're in Europe and they've started the season very well. They have to make the decisions. And by the way, then there's nothing wrong with what Palace has done either. It's the nature of this sport. And I love it. Again, UK law does not allow it. They can sack him. Oh yeah, they can sack him, but they wouldn't because then they're releasing an asset. But I'm sure they could hold these. Even when people are sick in the UK, I know this for a fact. I went through it, not personally. I managed the situation. You get sick pay in the UK at some companies, and then there's statutory sick pay. But there comes a point when a company can stop paying. But if someone isn't sick, someone isn't injured, and they're just blank right refusing to work, you are not legally obliged to pay them. You're not. And football contracts are even more stringent on that because the footballers are more like contractors rather than full-time employees, even though they get paid PAYE. If they're not turning up to do their job, you don't pay them.